Hello everyone out there in YouTube land. This is Will of the Nerds. My name is Will, and today you're going to be entertained by my first podcast. Yay! It's pretty much just going to be about Fallout, as you can see from the Fallout 76 gameplay in the background. So, basically, just going to go over what my ideal Fallout game would be. So, we will... I got my notes here. So, I guess we'll start with basically my introduction of Fallout, which was Fallout 3. No, it was actually Fallout New Vegas. My one friend, he played it, and he tried to get me into the game when it first came out. I wasn't really a fan, and like if you've watched a few of my Fallout videos, you probably understand that I think I've brought this up before. But I was never really a fan of it when it first came out. I didn't like VATS. The shooting was clunky compared to a lot of other games that were out at the time. You know, Call of Duty, to me, was at its height. You know, Modern Warfare and, like, the World War II games and all, you know. It wasn't anything too interesting to me. But I ended up seeing it on sale at GameStop for $10, the Game of the Year edition, and I ended up picking it up, and I played it. I played New Vegas first, and I really enjoyed it after I sat down and played it. It was difficult at times, but it was entertaining, you know, RPG game, where basically your choices and what you did affected everything. But I'll go into more detail about what I liked from each game, what I would handpick from each game. But I played Fallout 3 maybe the next year. It was the same thing. I can't remember if I bought them at once, but it was $10 for the Game of the Year edition too. And I played that, but it took me a while to beat it. My one friend, who actually was the one that tried to get me into the games, he came out the one day when I was playing, and he had to help me get through the freaking subway system in that game because, Jesus Christ, it's a fucking wreck if you've never played it before. It's a pain in the ass. It's hard to figure out. So, like, he has the map out, and I'm playing the game, and, like, we're switching off controllers just to try to figure out where the fuck to go, just so I can get to, the White House and where everything is. I can't remember the exact location on top of my head. But, yeah, we spent like a half hour trying to do that because if you take a wrong turn in the subway, you end up in a place that's really far away and not where you need to be. So, like, that was basically my introduction to it, was New Vegas, Fallout 3. The one I've played the most was probably Fallout 4. I pre-ordered it. I got the special edition with the Pip-Boy and everything, and I took my vacation around that time when it came out because that was the only time I had available during that year to take vacation. So I said, fuck it, I'll get some Halloween candy that's on sale, and I'll just sit and play it for like a week and a half, and that's what I did. And I don't think I beat it in that time, even though I pretty much played it nonstop. I was messing around with everything else. But I did enjoy it, and like I said earlier, there's things I'll handpick from each game that I'd want in and that I wouldn't want in for the perfect Fallout game. But, you know, it's just, I enjoyed it. It was a fun gameplay. The shooting mechanics were a lot better. But, I have been playing Fallout 76 a bit too. I haven't played it recently just because it's a fucking grind fest. It's annoying. It's a pain in the ass. And, like, if you have a group of friends, or if you have a friend that wants to get into it that's new, it would be fun. I would pick it up, play it again, just because I would help that person get into the game. I'd be able to get experience for being in a team. But once they beat the main campaign and they beat all the DLC, there's really nothing else to it. There are some things I do like from it, but, like I said, I'm going to go handpick everything. So, and I mean, I've played a little bit of the first one. I'm not a turn-based fan, so, like, it didn't really impress me much. But, I mean, I would love for them to remake Fallout 1 and 2 in the, like, modern Fallout like third person, first person RPG game. I think they have the ability to do that, but from what I understand, Todd Howard doesn't want to do any of that kind of stuff. He doesn't want to remake old games because the nostalgia, but I think it would really pay off if they remade the first and the second one in the modern, Bethesda style game. I think it would really pay off, and a lot of people would pay a lot of money for that. I know I would. I would love it, and like you could modernize it with, newer things like weapons crafting, all, power armor, all that stuff. Maybe make it a little bigger. Like you can throw them both together and sell them for like $80 together, or $70 together and $40 separate. I think that would be a good idea. But hey, I'm not head of marketing or the owner of Bethesda or ZeniMax, so that's not my call. Now, before I get into like the things I would pick from each Fallout game to make like a perfect Fallout game, like I do want to go over some things that I would like to change with Fallout 76 for me to get back into it and maybe get other people back into the game. So, when you look at the map, it's a pretty big fucking map. Like there's a lot of locations, and now that Wastelanders came out and they added NPCs, it's added more to the game. It seems more lived in. It seems like you don't go from point A to point B with running into nothing. Because when I first picked it up and played it, it was dead. The world was dead. You would go from point A to point B, and nothing. There would be no enemies that showed up. Like there wasn't any NPCs at the time to run into. There was nothing, and like you had to pay attention to terminals, and you had to keep an eye out for holotapes to get any kind of lore, any kind of background on anything. And like if you've seen me play Fallout 4, I don't really read the terminals. To me, that's a waste of time. It's a pain in the ass unless it's connected to a quest, in which case like I'll just click shit until like the quest updates. I'm not a fan of that, so I was really happy when they added Wastelanders and NPCs. It really made the game feel like a Fallout game, especially if you had Fallout First, which I do. I didn't get it till after Wastelanders came out, because it's a pain in the ass to level up in a public server on Fallout 76, because everything level caps. Now, I think they're changing that in an update, but before, everything level capped with the highest person on the server. So, like, you could be level 32 and you need to do something down at Cranberry Bog, which is highest level, and, like, you're level 50, but everything's spawning at, like, level 60, level 80, and you can't get shit done. So, Wastelanders came out, I bought a private server, and it feels like a Fallout game to me. Granted, like, once you beat the quest, it becomes very grindy, which I absolutely hate. So, like, the map, again, well, I'm getting a little off task here, but anyway, the map's big, and there's still some open space in the map, and one thing I would love to see is if, I would like to see him put more locations in, and open up some of the parts of the maps that you can't get to just yet, because I'm afraid that they would go like back to the Capital Wasteland or something that you can travel to in Fallout 76 instead of just adding more unique locations to the map, because they got plenty of space to add probably another 100 locations on Fallout 76. And you know, there's only two factions right now. There's the Raiders and there's the Settlers. And with the DLC coming out, there'll be the Brotherhood of Steel. Ugh. So sorry for any spoilers, but it's been kind of known since the beginning of the year that they were coming back. So, I mean, you can add a few things in there for Brotherhood of Steel, but to me, you could add a couple more factions in there. Maybe an unfriendly Raider gang. I mean, I guess there is a couple cults in there that are unfriendly. They just repurposed locations that didn't have anything in them for those gangs, but I would like to see maybe like a big headquarters for some of these gangs, or create another gang or another faction and just fill out the map a little bit, and maybe throw in some other things that would be interesting for quests. You know, how, like, if you in Fallout 4 and New Vegas, you can go to certain places, and when you get there, somebody comes up and greets you, or they give you a quest, and it's just set in that little area. I can't remember what it's called. It's on the road to Nipton, I believe, where the guy wins the lottery, and like Caesar's Legion came in. That guy's fucking ecstatic. He won the lottery, and you go around the town, and there's people on crucifixes, and there's a guy in the one store right up front who won the lottery, but he got his legs broken. And it's basically just self-contained in that little area, and like there's an Easter egg there, and if you have the one perk, and I believe there's a small little quest there, or it starts a quest. And I find that really interesting. I really enjoyed that. I like that you know, you show up and there's people there to greet you, or you show up and you're starting a quest automatically. It's something that they could do in Fallout 76, because they have the space to do it, to add locations like that. And another thing that makes it extremely grindy is, one, the seasons, and two, like the currencies they use. So once you beat Wastelanders, you get gold bullion. So you use that to buy new plans or rare plans in the game, and you can do some events, and you can do the side quests for whatever faction you pick to get treasury notes that you can turn in for gold bullion. But you can only get 200 gold bullion per day, and then if you go to Smiley at the Wayward, I believe it is, you can spend 6,000 caps on 300 gold bullion. So, like, if you want a full plan of power armor, you gotta grind, like, all month, every day, all month, to get enough script to get it, and that's only one thing. So, like, you gotta grind for probably 2 years or more to get everything. Granted, you can do these events over and over again and just basically hoard your gold bullion or your treasury notes to turn them in every day to get that 200. And like, there's a couple days where you probably don't have to do anything. You can just turn in your treasury notes and get it. But still, it's a pain in the ass. You got to grind like probably, I'd say, 8 to 10 months just to get everything with gold bullion. Which, when you have nothing going on in game, it doesn't make it fun to just grind. So, to me, I think they need to make it a little more friendly getting it, because that's how it was with Legendary Script. Now, getting Legendary Script now it's a lot easier. So basically, any daily quest you do, any like small side quest you do, you're getting Legendary Script, which is awesome because you can play all week, and then you have basically your Legendary Script maxed out. Hell, you probably only have to play half the week, and you can have your Legendary Script maxed out, and you can go to the Purveyor and turn in your Legendary Script to get a Legendary Weapon. But the one thing I don't like is the max on the things. I understand why they're doing it. I know they want people to come back every day and play, which is why you can only turn in so much treasury notes, and you can only get so many Legendary Scripts from the vending machine, because they want you to come back in every day and do it. But with having a limited space in your stash, when you turn in your Legendary Scripts to get weapons or armor, and it's something that you're not interested in, and you go to sell it in that vending machine, and you only get, I think, what is it, 150? That's how much you get from the vending machine. Once you turn in enough legendaries to where that 150 script that's in the vending machine is now in your inventory, that's it. The rest of it has to go in your stash, or you have to carry it. And if your stash is full, you got to carry it, which means now you can't really go around and do anything else, because you can't get rid of anything. You just have to carry it, and if you drop it, it disappears. I think you can trade them. Maybe. Actually, no, I don't think you can trade legendaries. They might have changed that, but the last I heard is you can't trade legendaries either. So, like, they're just taking up your fucking space. Why won't they let you just spend what, 1,000 or 500? Put 500 legendary script in that vending machine, because you're never gonna spend that much in a single day for legendaries that you've collected. Even if you're legendary hunting, I highly doubt you'll get 500 legendary script to put into that machine. Like usually your armors aren't that much. So you know, your armors and like your low tier stuff, you're only getting 3 to 5 legendary script. The 2-star ones, I believe you're getting like 15 to 20, and then the high ones are like 45, 50. So like you can play all day and go to the purveyor and get the stuff, and what you don't like, you can sell it, and then you don't have to worry about being over encumbered. You don't have to worry about taking up stash space and waiting for the next day or the next couple of days, because people do have lives. I have a full-time job, so like I can't hop on every day for 3 or 4 hours and level up. So like those are the two main currencies that I have a problem with, that I think they should fix. So like they should make it a little easier to get that. At least the treasury notes, I think they need to be a little more friendly with them, or else like they're just gonna have people dropping off after this next wave of DLC comes out. Because I played for like 4 or 5 weeks straight after Wastelanders to try to save up treasury notes to get gold bullion, and like I just fell off, because even like the seasons that they introduced, they're a pain in the ass. So, which will bring me to the next point. I think the seasons need changed. So they have it set up like Candyland board, where each space you unlock certain things, and there's 100 spaces, and you need to level up to move to the next space, which is all good and well if you're a newer player with a low level character, because you're getting XP left and right, which is it's the only reoccurring one that you can get. So there's daily and weekly challenges, and when you do them, you get XP or special points to level up in the season. So the only one that's reoccurring is if you get 10,000 XP. So if you're a newer player, or you have a lower level account, you can get that quick, because you're not close to beating the main story. You got all kinds of missions to do, like you're still fresh to the side quests, like you're gaining a shit ton of XP. Like you can fly through that. You can level up really fucking quick. You could spend a week and you could probably be halfway done with the thing just because of that. But I'm a higher level. Like I'm 130, I believe, and like there's some people on there I've seen that are like 200, 300. And one of the dailies is to level up every day, and one of the weeklies is to level up 3 times in a week. That's where I have a problem, because I work 12 hours either 3 days a week or 4 days a week. And when I come home, I don't want to sit there and grind on Fallout 76 for 4 hours to try to level up my character just to get that daily. And just to get the bonus daily for completing all the dailies. And then get the bonus weekly for completing all the weeklies. It's tough. It's a pain in the ass. I think they need to either change that daily to something else and keep the weekly as level up, 3 times a week, or level up 2 times a week. That one's fine. Or maybe keep the weekly as reoccurring as level up. So when you level up, you get like 100 special points. And it's reoccurring. And then maybe the daily, switch it to like gain a certain amount of XP or collect something or kill something. That way it's a little easier. People can hop on for an hour, do their dailies, not have to worry about level up, which for me could take up to 2 hours to level up. Especially like my friends don't have the same schedule as me, or the ones that do have the same schedule as me, they don't want to go in and grind. They want to, go to sleep. They want to play a different game. They want to spend time with their significant other. Like, they have other plans to do, and, like, I'm sitting there by myself trying to grind, and I'm not really a fan of going out of my way, meeting people and being like, hey, you want to do this? I'm like, no, I'd rather, have my private server, get on, play Fallout how it's meant to be played, and it takes me 2 to 3 hours to level up, and it sucks. So like one, that needs to be changed. I think that daily where you need to level up needs to be gone. But I also feel like the map thing should go. So before, the daily and weekly challenges used to give you atoms that you can spend in the atomic shop. Well, now on the game board, like it unlocks certain crafting materials, it unlocks caps, it unlocks atoms, it unlocks legendary script, it unlocks gold bullion, cosmetics, all, like basically anything and everything from the game you can unlock in this board. How I feel like it should be done is back in the day in Destiny, I don't know if it's still this way now, is on the weekends, somebody would show up and you could buy legendaries off of this person. So you had all week to farm and get legendary script or whatever it was, and you could turn it in and get a weapon or armor or an engram from that guy. I can't remember his name. I don't know if it's still in the game or not. Like, you guys can let me know down in the comments. And if there's any games like that you know still have that. So I think they should make a new location in the map that somebody shows up every weekend, and you get to pick your legendary, you get to pick your weeklies, and you get to pick your dailies for the week. So basically, you pick 5 dailies. It's the same thing every day, and you get an X amount of XP for it. And the same thing with the weeklies. You pick like 5 weeklies and 1 reoccurring weekly, and you have it all week. You have all week to work on it, all week to do the same dailies, and at the end of that week, you can go turn in your XP for it to him, and that'll level him up. And what I think there should be is there should be 3 or 4 tiers with him. So X amount of XP gets you to level 1, or you start out at level 1. X amount of XP gets you to level 2. A set amount of XP gets to level 3, and a set amount of XP gets you to tier 4. And then each tier has different things. So like tier 1 has basic cosmetics, maybe a certain amount of caps, and nothing really anything else. Then level 2, when you reach it, you can go in, turn in your stuff, and basically you can pick certain things to do it. Like, you can't go in and pick everything, obviously. So like you reach that certain level and you get certain marks, or like each one you complete. So let's say your dailies, you get 1 point for each one you complete. So that would be 5 points. And by the end of the week, you're looking at what, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. It would be 42 in a 7-day, right? So you're looking at 42 points. And then the weeklies, let's just say they're like 2 each. Whatever it would be to equal, let's say 100 points by the end of the week. Just make it easy. So if you do all of them, you get points. You just get a point. And you go, if you do them all the first week, you don't have any problems, you get tier 1 unlocked right away. Then you can take those points that you have and you can either save them or you can spend them on tier 1, which would basically be just like the basics, like simple cosmetic stuff, maybe a little bit of caps, maybe a small amount of legendary script, and you spend those points on that. So like 5 points for 100 caps or something like that. And then once that's gone, they're gone. And then you come back the second week. Once you're there, you get your weekly and daily challenges for the next week. You go and do it. You come back, same thing, 100 points. And let's say you don't level up yet. You got to do like 2 weeks in a row before you get to the next level. So now you got 200 points. It's now the 3rd week, because these things run for 10 weeks. It's the 3rd week. You now have access to level 2. Then 2 weeks later, you have access to level 3. Then 2 weeks later, you have access to level 4. So, like, you're looking at 2, 4, 6, 7 weeks to get to tier 4. And then you have 3 extra weeks to where you can just do those things, save your stuff, and then just pick and choose what you want. So, like, a lot of those things are available in the Atomic Shop anyway, but a lot of those things I also don't want. So, you know, like, some of the cosmetic stuff I can live without. I'm not going to use it. What I want is to either get atoms from this guy, get legendary script from this guy, get gold bullion, maybe some Atomic Shop thing, or not Atomic Shop things, maybe some workshop things that I like. And then, like, in tier 4, there's, like, legendary stuff. Because at the end, there's a big bundle you can get. And then maybe maybe at the end of it, if you've done your dailies and your weeklies, if you've done every single one of them, at the end of the season, you unlock that legendary one. It's just free. Because to me, that would be a reward. Like, hey, you stuck with us every day. You did your challenges every day. You did your challenges every week. Here's the legendary thing. You get it. Like, here's 1,000 atoms. Here is 100 legendary script. Here's 100 gold bullion. Here's 1,000 caps, or like 500 caps. And here's like this rare, you know, cosmetic thing, like power armor cosmetic, or like a armor skin, and that's for you. That's for sticking with us playing the whole thing. And like, that's what I think every season should be, instead of changing the game board. To me, that's kind of stupid, because there's only, what, 4 or 5 games that are known in the Fallout universe. Like, if you make this character, then it's, to me, you'll have like a community hub. If you're on a public server, or people are going to this player, and it also entices trade amongst these players, right? So, like, you're making a location with a vendor that's there every weekend for like 12 hours or just one day, and you're there to get your challenges for the week and the day, and the dailies for the week. And maybe he has a vending machine there, just regular vending machines to buy ammo and whatever else. But if you're in a public server, there's going to be other players there, which is going to entice trade, which is going to entice people to work together, maybe make friends, you know, maybe you know, there's a daily you need to work with somebody. There's somebody there that has the same thing as you. You could run off and do that fucking thing. You know, to me, I think that just makes a lot more sense than just the game board in the season, which I think is, it's stupid, it's a pain in the ass, and it's grindy. And to me, if you do it that way, where you have one vendor that shows up every weekend to get weeklies and dailies from, and you have the same daily every day for a week, it makes it easier. And it's your choice. Like, you have your choice amongst a lot of shit. And over 7 weeks, if you do everything, you get, or like, you have to do an X amount of challenges to get to the next level or something like that, you know? And, you know, you could do it for 6-7 weeks, be at the top tier, then you have 3 weeks to just save up and buy whatever you want from the goddamn vendor, instead of going through a bunch of bullshit on a game board that you don't want, and then losing out on atoms, because there's not a whole lot of atoms on the game board, and it's kind of making you go and spend real world money on atoms instead of playing the game and spending money in the game, or rewarding you for doing shit by giving you atoms, to in turn go into the Atomic Shop and be like, oh, I'm like 100 atoms short. I can either hop in the game for another 3 hours to earn it, or you might be a little more enticed just to spend $5 to get the 100 atoms to buy the thing you want, you know? To me, I think that would be better, and that's basically it for that. And the other thing I kind of have a bit of a sour taste towards is how they do the legendaries in Fallout 76 and in Fallout 4. So it's it's a random drop.
You just
That's
need to
that's
build
okay.
it,
Like if you go out and
power
kill a
it,
legendary
let the radio
weapon
transmitter in
and
there
you get a
bring them
legendary
in,
drop,
then track down that boss
whatever.
and
Like you're
convince him
taking that
to
chance. You're
release it.
legendary hunting,
They
sure,
did
whatever.
teach you all how to build from
The one thing I
schematics up
don't
in
like
that
is
vault
to
of yours,
purveyor,
didn't
where you spend 100 script to get just a random
we? That's the
weapon.
spirit.
To me,
Hey,
I
you
think
need a
there should be.
refresher? Good old
I'm
Morty
okay with
Boy can
random.
help
I
you
think it
out.
shouldn't be 100. I think it should be
What are
maybe
you on
50,
about, Mordecai?
and have
Nah,
everything
I'm not
toned
bragging
down.
or anything, but I've
And if
got
you're gonna
some
pay
tapes that
100
cover
script,
that very
maybe
subject.
like there's a
Oh,
certain
Mort,
set
not the tapes.
of legendary
Well,
weapons
find yourself
there
wanting a
for the
refresher?
week.
Talk to
So
Now,
let's
you'll probably
say
need to pick up some
you go
materials,
out
too. Wood, electronics, copper
and
wiring and the like. And so you know,
you get
might
your
have to
legendary
break some of this
script,
scrap
you
down
come
for
back,
parts. But I can
and
spot you
let's
some
say
workbench
the
materials, too,
vampiric
since you do
weapons
such
are
big ones.
what's cool for the
Who
month,
knows?
or not for the month,
Maybe
for the
you'll
week.
learn something while you do.
So you spend 100 gold bullion,
Now,
or
ready
not
to
100
get
gold
this
bullion,
show
100
on the
legendary
road?
script on any vampiric weapon.
dog.
So it has
Good to
all
have
of them
those
there.
dogs
You
off
can
our
scroll
back at
through
long
them,
last.
or you can search to bring
Just
up
make
one you're
sure
looking
once
for,
you find
or it
out
has
where they're
bloodied,
hiding,
or it
that the leader
has
gets the message.
I can't
The
remember
wayward
really
gets
anymore.
left alone.
Troubleshooter,
Oh,
like
and
it
on the
has all
topic
those
of leaders,
prefixes,
you know, one of my
and
people
it brings
found
up
this tape in the
every
camp
weapon
across the
with that
way,
prefix.
recorded by
It,
one
granted, I
overseer
think they should
of
all be
Vault
3
76.
stars.
It's
I don't think you should really go to the
little
problem
out
of
of
making
date
a
at
1-star or
this
2-star one,
but it seems it might have
because
been left for
nobody
someone
really
from
wants a
her vault.
1-star, 2-star. If you have a legendary
Maybe it
script and
was
you're going to the
waiting for
purveyor,
you.
you're getting a 3-star. So
Sounds like she set the
Like,
camp up so
you
her
just take the
people could get
prefix
some practice in
and
self-reliance.
make that the one for the
Probably
week.
worth looking into if
You know,
could use a
and
little
then you could
refresh.
cycle through them, like start back, like go in alphabetical order, and once you're at the end, start back at the beginning. That way, people who are looking for a certain weapon, they can save up their fucking legendary script and be like, yeah, okay, 3 weeks from now, the purveyor's gonna have a legendary weapon that I want. I can go and I can get it. So again, these people are hopping into the game, playing, saving up their legendary script to go to the purveyor and get the weapon they're looking for, and it would make it fun for them. And like if you want a legendary hunt, like nobody's stopping you from doing that. Like I know people that do that. They go legendary, they go hunting for legendaries. They would either sell them, or there's a whole thing where people are actually selling their weapons online for real world money. You know, like to me that's fucking retarded. But people are doing it, and I guess people are buying it, or else there wouldn't be a problem with that. So, like, that's basically my gripes with Fallout 76. But with that, there is some things I do like from Fallout 76. And, like, the crafting, to me, it's good. It's a lot better than Fallout 4. Like, when you get junk, you can scrap it. And it goes to your stash. The thing I don't like is the limit. But if now we're getting back into like the perfect Fallout game. If Fallout 5 were to come out, this is what I would want. And we'll start and set with Fallout 76 and just work our way backwards. So like Fallout 76, I like the crafting. The crafting is really good. I like the different skins for the power armor, which I think should just be in game. I don't think they should really be cosmetic things, especially I can see the ones that don't fit into the lore, but the ones that fit into the lore should be like a little side quest or something in the new Fallout game. And the crafting should stay. I really enjoy the crafting, the fact that you can tear everything down and get components from it. I really enjoy that. I don't mind that some of the things have plans, and I do find it annoying that some things do. So, like weapons and armor, that's cool that they have a plan for those. Like, you go out into the wasteland, and you're probably going to pick up the first gun you have, and you're not going to know how to make certain guns, or you're not going to know how to make certain armor. So you need to find those plans, or learn them from somebody, or buy that plan from somebody. To me, I think that's interesting. I really like that. Now, the stuff in the workshop, or the stuff in the workshop, that's pushing it. I think everything should basically be craftable, but I did like what they did in Fallout 4, where certain magazines unlocked certain things. Because chances are, like, you're just collecting this stuff and bringing it back to your settlement. Anyway, I understand that you're crafting some of it, but to me, I would rather just go look for a magazine than rather look for the plan, because if you throw a shit ton of plans in there, it's just too tedious. It's too much to look for. It's a pain in the ass. So that's about really the only thing from Fallout 76 that I enjoyed is the crafting. Because there really isn't like a karma system or anything. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else off the top of my head. The being able to camp anywhere. I do enjoy that. I would like to see that come back in a new Fallout game. Maybe having a certain perk that either expands the radius of the building, because in Fallout 76 it's not very big, and the thing that I don't like is if you have Fallout First, your building area isn't any different than if you were playing on public. So if you're in a server by yourself, creating your own camp, you're still limited by the size as if it were in a public server. So I would like to see maybe a perk or something that lets you be able to build bigger camps when you're out and about in the new Fallout game. So that takes me to Fallout 4, where like the settlement building, I would really, really enjoy to see that settlement building would affect the world. I would really enjoy that. So you take your time, you build a settlement up, and you bring settlers in, but like you don't see any people coming there to trade. You don't see that affecting the world at all. It would be interesting to, you build up a settlement and you see people coming in trading, or it becomes a very big settlement and you go out in the land and you just hear people talking about, hey, this settlement whatever has got this, or like, did you hear this settlement got really big? I'm thinking of moving there, or something like that. To me, I think that would be interesting. Like the world's reacting to your settlement growing and building, and it kind of provides more. I wouldn't say realism. I can't think of what word I'm trying to look for. Immersion. It kind of builds more of an immersion in the game when, like, you're walking around and you hear people talking about your settlement. Like, I'd feel safe in that settlement because it's really defended, and things like that. But I don't want, like, Preston Gravy kind of like, hey, this settlement needs defending. We don't want that, Bethesda. Don't fucking put Preston Gravy back in that fucking game. And, that's something that I would really enjoy. Again, back with the Fallout 76, I don't want to see plans for stuff in workshop mode. I think it should just be a magazine, or, it's something that you do a mission and you unlock how to make something. I don't want to see plans coming back for that. To me, it just adds too much and it's too tedious. Maybe if you're looking like there's a mission when you go to in Fallout 4, when you go to the castle or the fort where the Minutemen are originally from, or were originally based, and you beat that, you get the mortar station, I believe, unlocked. See, that's neat. I like that. So you do a mission, and depending on who the mission's for, you unlock like specific things for your workshop. To me, I enjoy that. So they're basically giving you that technology. They're not giving you the plan like, hey, go fuck yourself, learn it yourself. They're like, hey, here's how you make it. It's done. It's in your workshop. You can do it yourself, and you just need the resources to build it. I did enjoy that. I do hope that would come back. Now, another thing I really liked from Fallout 4 was the power armor. I fucking love the power armor now. That is probably my favorite thing from Fallout. at this point. It never used to be. Like, I didn't really mess with power armor in Fallout 4 until like the end of the game, where I had nothing left to do but go collect it. But it's nice. It adds protection, and it protects you from radiation. It could add carry weight. Like, there's so much shit it could do, especially if your character is limited in certain things. Like, if you want a big tanky guy that carries a lot of shit, fucking add some mods to your power armor, and there you go. You fucking have like a plus 80 or plus 100 to your carry weight. You can run around and fucking hoard shit, or carry heavy weapons. Or, you can have that one with a jetpack on it, the fucking one with that, like, they all have headlamps that you can get on. To me, I kind of like what they do with Fallout 76, where like they have the excavator one, but I would like to see them more like specialized, where you have mods, but each one is like specialized in some way. Where I think the armor and the resistance are better the further you go up until XO1. But it would be nice to see, like, maybe each one has certain mods that you can't get with the other set of power armor. And again, I would like to see the skins come back. I think they should be quest rewards and maybe a few plans. But I think you should naturally find some of the power armors, like the Nuka-Cola power armor or the Vim power armor in Fallout 4. That's neat. I would like to see that make a comeback to where they're just set pieces. They're just something to look at that they made as propaganda for their fucking brand, That's neat. I would like to see that come back. I did enjoy the crafting in Fallout 4, but again, like I said, Fallout 76 did it better. It took it a step further. That way you just don't have a shit ton of junk in your workshop that's just not broken down. It seems to make the game a little better when everything's broken down into smaller components in the game. I did like, and I do enjoy in Fallout 4 and Fallout 76 having the shelves and the display cases for like your legendary weapons or your rare weapons, which legendary weapons again in the new Fallout game, to me, I think they should be, I'm okay with the legendary creatures and legendary enemies dropping random ones, but I don't think they should be as powerful as quest ones. So I think when you get something from a quest, it should be unique and it should be a little more powerful than something that you would just get off of a random enemy. And it makes it more special, like, hey, I did this quest, I worked my ass off and I got this awesome legendary weapon. Granted, it might not be something that I'm ever going to use, but hey, here it is in my settlement. It's all showed up in my case, and it's all fancy. And, that was one thing I loved Fallout 4. You can show everything off. But, again, with a new Fallout game, I don't want multiplayer like Fallout 76. I think it would be awesome to have co-op. So, with you and, up to 3 friends can all run around the wasteland together, not affect each other's stories. Basically, the people, if somebody's hopping in a server with you, they're basically playing as companions. They gain some XP, they gain some caps, but overall, you're running the story. They're just there to be in your world. But, they can go to your settlements, they can trade at your settlements. So basically, if you have a vendor there, they can trade. They can go to, your base and go over your museum you have set up with all the stuff you want to show off, and you can trade with them personally, like in Fallout 76. That's something that I do enjoy too from 76, is being able to trade. And I think that's something that the new Fallout game should introduce, is co-op, not massive multiplayer, co-op. So you and 3 buddies can play together, but they're basically companions. They're not running your camp, they're not running your game, they're just there. And if they're in your server, that's what it is. They're just running around, they can do whatever the fuck they want, they can discover it. But the only thing that they'll carry over to their game would be the caps and the XP that they gain. Nothing else. I mean, if you traded something, or if they picked up scrap, yeah, they'd obviously take that, but if they helped you with a story, that's not going to further the story in their campaign. It'll just help you. So, if you're having trouble with a boss or, clearing out a location, have one of your friends jump on. They can help you clear it out. They get some caps and they get some XP. They come back to your settlement, maybe buy something off of one of your vendors, or you trade them one of your legendary weapons you're not using, and they go on their way. And they feel rewarded. They helped you out. You got to spend some time with your friend. And hey, like that's that. It's easy. Then you can go do the rest of the stuff yourself, which is how it's meant to be played in my mind. And to me, that's probably about the only things from Fallout 4 and Fallout 76 that I really enjoyed. Now with like going back further with Fallout New Vegas, what I would take from Fallout New Vegas, basically the karma system. I would like to see it expanded. I think it should have more of an effect. I like how, there was only 2 factions. So obviously if you're in the new Fallout game, to me, throw more factions in there, kind of like Fallout 4, but to me they should be more fleshed out, more fine-tuned than like, hey, we're all buddies, we don't like the Brotherhood of Steel, and we don't like the Institute, and like 2 or 3 of them pal up with each other, and it's just that there's all kinds of shades of gray with everything in life, as there always is. That's how factions are too. And you do something with one faction, the other factions aren't going to like that. So I guess some of the things would be, I'm trying to think, Red Dead Redemption 2, how they did that, where like if you did something, people reacted to it. Or Mercenaries, in old games, one of my favorite games, whenever you worked with a faction and you did something that the other factions didn't like, you lost reputation with them. I think that's something that should come in to the new Fallout game. So it's basically taking Fallout New Vegas's karma system and making it better, in my opinion, making it more fleshed out, like I said, and again, like expanding the factions. So taking like factions from Fallout 4, taking factions from Fallout 4, not necessarily like those specific factions, but throwing like 4 or 5 factions in there and making it so you can choose to maybe work with the raiders instead of just the raiders always being a bad guy. And I think like it kind of throws a moral compass into the thing too. People don't always want to be the good guy. People play video games to escape. So in New Vegas, you can side with Caesar's Legion, which does all kinds of terrible, shitty things, but you can side with them.
I'd wait to go piss.
It's a thing. It's a choice, and like that's a real thing. It's something that's going to happen. It's a possibility that can happen, and I think that's something that should be thrown in a game. Now, granted, like if you went the Raider way and you went pillaging and murdering and stealing and all that stuff, like granted, the nicer factions, the more lenient factions they won't take it. They'll get pissed off at you, and you'll lose karma with them. And like if you go completely to 0 or maybe like a negative 100 with them, like they won't, everything locks. You get negative 100 reputation with any faction, everything locks for them. You can't get anything from them. Like their quests are locked. You can't go into town where they'll shoot at you. Like if you come across any of that faction's like soldiers or anything out in the world, they attack you or they shun you. I think that's something that should be in a new Fallout game, because again, that adds more immersion to it. Because if you piss off a faction, they're not going to be like, hey, yeah, we don't like you, but we'll still trade with you. They're going to be like, get the fuck away from us. You're siding with those guys that we're strongly against, and what are you doing here, buddy? So that's basically expanding the karma system and like the factions kind of wrapped up into one. And another thing I really liked from New Vegas and from Fallout 3 was the perk system. I really enjoyed how they started New Vegas with answering the questions, and like they kind of give you a vague like, here's how you answered, this is how your character might be if that's what you want, but you can change it around anyway. I think I did enjoy the XP or the points you got to put into specific things that you liked. Now, granted, that system is kind of old. I understand why Bethesda got rid of it, because there's really not a lot of RPG games that do that anymore. So, what I was thinking they can maybe do would be take the perk system from Fallout 4 and take the old system from Fallout 3 New Vegas. So you maybe answer questions and like you get specific perks that are separate from the perk tree itself. And then you put your special points in, and that's basically it. And then every time you level up, you get a perk point to put in any of the perks that you have unlocked. And then every 10th level, you can either choose to put a point in your special, or you can choose to get 2 perk points. And to me, they added too many perks, or they added too many levels. To me, I think everything should be capped at level 3. 3 levels for each perk. And then if you have a DLC come out, then maybe you add like 11 or 12 for your special. You know, you just add another perk down there. Or you make it to where you level up, you can choose a perk like the original Fallout 3 New Vegas system. You pick that perk, you level up, you pick that perk, and you have that perk. I do enjoy that maybe side effects. So, Outer Worlds did it where like you can get phobias and things like that. I think that's something that they should do. They should look at doing, or maybe bringing back perks that have a side effect. So, it's good for this thing, but it's not good for that thing. So you end up with a specific style of character that's yours. And I think there should be a level cap for the base game, and then once you add DLC, then you could take the level cap off. But to me, if you add the level cap, it makes you look at your character. It makes you specialize in certain things. So like you're looking at the special points, you're looking at the perk tree, and you're like, do I want more in intelligence? Do I want more in luck, perception? Like you have to focus on 1 or 2 certain specials. Whereas like in Fallout 4, you can just, if you put in enough time, you can just become good at everything. You can unlock everything. And I think, to me, in the base game, there should be a level cap in the base game until DLC comes out. When DLC comes out, then you can take that level cap off and basically say go ham, because chances are by the time you're done with all the DLC content, you're still going to be roughly at the level that they'd expect you to be. But if you take the level cap off after the DLC, then people that are making mods and stuff like that, they can keep playing and feel like they're getting rewarded by leveling up, or they can just go around and level up and look for shit and loot shit. And to me, I think that adds more replayability when you take a level cap off. But I think it should be done after the main quest, and at the beginning of DLC, or maybe after some DLC. So, and that was another thing I really enjoyed back to like Fallout 4 is the mods. Now, I play on Xbox. Granted, like it has to go through, I believe, Microsoft before it gets put on. And Fallout, and not Fallout 4, on PlayStation, it's worse because they can only use anything that's actually an asset in the game. So on Xbox, you get a decent bit more mods, but on PC you can get basically whatever you want. But it's nice playing on a console and having that, like once you beat the game, you can download some mods and it kind of brings new life to the game, and you can add new quest mods. And if you take that level cap off after DLC, or after the DLC, then you get rewarded for playing these quests and these mods. granted, if you play with mods, your like achievements are going to get turned off, but you know, at that point, if you are an achievement hunter and or a perfectionist, you'll probably have almost everything done, and like you're going to keep playing until you have everything done. Then you can get mods. And if you're looking to complete everything in a game, then you take the level cap off. You're still getting rewarded for all these things that you're doing. One, with getting level points or perk points, and two, by unlocking the achievements. So I think that's something that they should do. They should bring back a level cap, and they should change the system to maybe work with both Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas's old style. Now, I kind of brought it up a little earlier too, with the settlements affecting the world, and when you go out into the world, you hear people talking about it and things like that. So with Fallout 3, at the end of, it's basically all the Fallout games, they go over everything that happened in the world. But when you beat Fallout 3 and you go back to certain places, depending on what choice you made, you hear how that affected people. And, you know, like, if you actually purify the water and you go to, I can't remember where it is, it's the place where the ghouls live, and there's a guy up front selling purified water, or what you think is purified water. He might be a snake oil salesman or whatever. But, you know, you see the people that are affected by it. Granted, it's not to a grand scale like it could be, and that's how I think it should be. Once you beat the game, everything should change, and people should react to what happened. You know, that's, to me, that's a big part of immersion. You know, you beat the game, you beat the big bad guy, or you sided with the bad guys and you completed the game. But now, like, if you played as the Raiders, that settlement that you attacked, that they wanted you to attack, and you go back after playing it and it still has the settlers in it, how does that make sense? There should be Raiders there, right? Or, like, if you sided with the Raiders, there should be more like raiding parties. As you go out, you think like a lot of settlements would get attacked, and when you show up to a settlement, they're either scared of you and they're like, here, take whatever you want at either a discounted price or for free, just leave us alone, or they attack you, or like vice versa. If you work with the good guys, let's say the Brotherhood of Steel, and like you go around, you think there's going to be Brotherhood of Steel patrols more around the wasteland. You think when you go to like more historic sites, you'll see scribes looking through everything because they had you go on a mission to fucking do this. I think there's a mission in Fallout 4 where you go to the library that's in the middle of where the nuke fell, and I think when you show up later, there are Brotherhood of Steel people there, but in the long run, it's nothing. Like, it's just a small thing compared to the whole game, where it would be nice to see maybe like the smaller areas. If you worked with the Brotherhood of Steel, like that small like garage that you found something in, like there's a scribe there just looking around collecting shit, you know. And granted, he's probably not there every day. Maybe he shows up, like he has a certain cycle. A lot of games like Cyberpunk coming out and Red Dead, and I can't think of it. I know there's another one where basically the NPCs have a cycle. Bethesda isn't that far behind technology-wise, I believe, especially if they make a new engine. They need to make a new engine. I can't stress that enough. They need to make a new engine. They just can't keep updating it. But it's completely possible to have NPCs that have what the hell is it? What am I looking for? I just said it too. Daily routines. So, like, that's extremely possible, to where, you know, you see people walking around have a daily routine, but they also need to fix the goddamn AI pathing. Because in Fallout 4, if you make a vault and it's too big, they just all bunch up at the front. That's all they do. They just fucking stand there with their thumb up their asses, and that's it. They're just taking up space right at the front of your vault. They're not working where they're supposed to be. They're not eating. They're just kind of standing there doing nothing. And I think that pretty much wraps up everything for Fallout 3. Now, like Fallout Tactics, I haven't played it all. There's really nothing I could say from Fallout Tactics that could be put in the game. So, basically skipping over that to Fallout 2 is the only thing I really know from Fallout 2, because I haven't played it either, is there's a lot of Easter eggs in that game, and I guess people kind of have a criticism that there's too many Easter eggs in the game. Granted, I don't care. I don't mind it. To me, it adds replayability to just go look for them things. You could also make it like Wild Wasteland or Wacky Wasteland from New Vegas, to where you pick that perk and then all these Easter eggs show up. To me, that's fun. I enjoy that. I think that's something that should come back. Having Easter eggs in it. Granted, I think almost every video game has Easter eggs in it now. You know, you just gotta look. You just gotta know where to look. I think I was playing Outer Worlds and they had Mjolnir. I know I'm not 100% pronouncing that right, but they had Thor's hammer like up in the mountain, just there, and I thought it was cool. And I think you could pick it up. I think it was a unique weapon in the Outer Worlds, which is that's cool. That's interesting. Like, it's to me, that's something that should be in the game. You know, maybe an Easter egg weapon that you can pick up and use in the game. Again, that goes back to the legendaries that have a special purpose and something that's neat that you want to show off, or something that you want to use, or something that you want to build a character around. And same thing with armor. You know, I think you should find legendary armor like that just around. And Easter eggs are something that should stay in a game. You know, it's something that makes it fun, especially, again, once you beat the game, you can go around and look for Easter eggs. That's fun, you know? Also, I think that's about it for Fallout 2. Now, for Fallout 1, I think I've only played about an hour of it. I'm not a big fan, again, because it's turn-based. I'm not a fan of turn-based games, although I do love Total War, but I'm more of a fan of the real-time strategy part of Total War. But again, that's like another podcast. So I watched a few YouTube videos on Fallout 1, and I guess at the end of the game, you can choose like a passive way for Fallout 1 to end. You can make the master, you can make him like kill himself. Yeah, that's a thing. It can happen. That, you know, that's really interesting. That's a choice. You know, you can make him conflicted with himself to where he's like, okay, I think he just shuts down, or he lets go of all the super mutants he has under his control. And I think that's something that should be in a game if you have a high intelligence or something like that. That should be a possibility to go through the game with a non-violent streak. I think that would be cool. That's something interesting. That's something, it adds a new dynamic and a new gameplay to it, you know? Alright, where was I? Where you could, influence the big bad evil guy at the end to kill himself. That's interesting. It's something you don't really see in video games. And the last video game that I played that had like a real big major choice in it that really affected me and made me cry man tears was Mass Effect 2. Because Garrus was my boy and I made the wrong choice and got him killed. So, you know, that's something I think they need to add back into the game that, you know, makes you play different ways. That you can go back and there's different ways to play it instead of just going back and picking a different faction. So, like, if you go back and you play the ending for each of the, let's say, 5 factions, there's 5 endings. And then, depending on what your karma is, maybe there's a few other endings. And then depending on where you have like some of your skill points, there's a few more endings. To me, it's just that adds to the
I'm not supposed to be
replayability
talking
to the
to you,
game. That adds
Minnetonka
a
Ocean's
lot to the
300
game.
miles from
It
here.
brings a new
Someone
play style to the
really
game.
dragged that
Like,
anchor all
you
this
can
way?
beat the whole game non-violent. Like, you don't have to kill a fucking soul. You can sneak around and then talk your way out of everything. To me, that's interesting. That's not my gameplay, but hey, you know, some people are really into that. It adds to the difficulty of the game too. So, basically, that's my perfect Fallout game. So I'm gonna go through to like the bullet points and everything like that. And, you know, that way, my jumbled mess is more condensed at the end as a grand finale for how my perfect Fallout game would be. So basically, starting where I just ended, adding the possibility to influence the big bad evil guy at the end. So, first point is being able to specify in certain things and play a different style rather than just picking a faction and that's it. Like, you can't convince anybody to do anything. You know, if you want to specify in something that affects the gameplay, that's how it should be. If you want to convince the big bad evil guy to kill himself and you've got a strong enough persuasion to do it, go for it. Do it. I think that should be an option. Fallout 2, all of the Easter eggs. Who doesn't want Easter eggs? You know, like some of your favorite movies and games and maybe music have Easter eggs in there. I do like that Bethesda has taken some of their super fans and put them into their games before. I think Cyberpunk is doing the same thing with some of their like bigger YouTube fans, people that have been promoting the game. They're putting them in the game as like minor characters. To me, that's interesting. I think that's something that should stay. It probably will stay. It's something that is not probably going to go away anytime soon. With Fallout 3, the what the hell was it? Oh, the main quest, kind of extending it to where the main quest had more of effect on the world after you're done, other than like small little certain setup scenes. So, you know, you beat the quest depending on who you beat the quest with, and depending on what your karma is or the choices you made, that affects the world around you as you end the game. And then obviously DLC would throw more into that. But if the DLC is away from the wasteland, those people aren't really going to know. Maybe they've heard rumors, and I think that's something that should be in the game. Like, oh, did you hear about that? The leader of the Raiders, he's ruthless. He kills everyone. And like, they don't know it's you, but they've heard rumors about the things going on in the wasteland. To me, that again, that adds a little more immersion. I think that's something that should be added. And with Fallout New Vegas, expanding the factions, so adding more factions, making the factions react to you, like with Caesar's Legion and the NCR, to where, like, depending on what faction you picked, they looked at you a certain way. And like, if you pick the Brotherhood of Steel, maybe the other factions aren't going to like you as much. Like in Mercenaries, if you make the decision with one faction, the other factions dislike it, or some of the other factions do like it. So, for an example, Fallout 4, you do something with the Institute that the Settlers or the Minutemen like, maybe your reputation with those factions goes up. But it decreases with Brotherhood of Steel and Institute because they don't like them, obviously. So that's something that I think should be introduced, more of a karma system to make you keep an eye on everything. Maybe you try to play a morally gray, or you play a bad guy, or you play a god, a good guy, basically a saint kind of character. And expanding, that's basically expanding on the karma system too, to where like every decision you make affects one way or the other. It could affect the end game. It could affect, obviously, how factions look at you, how NPCs look at you. Obviously, it adds to the immersion. The XPs, like how you used to get points to put into specific skill points, kind of like the thing it reminds me of is a tabletop RPG. To me, that's a little old for video games. I understand why they switched it. Because usually, like, a lot of video games have certain skills that you can focus on and put points in. And if you play long enough, you can unlock everything. Which I think the level cap should come back. And it should stay for the main game. Once DLC comes out, you should take that off. I think that you get a certain amount of special points you put in your special when you start. And then when you reach level 10, you get 1 perk point to put into a special. And let's say the level cap is 100, because then you're looking at 10 special points to put in. Out of what, the 21 to 27 you get, I think, at the beginning of a Fallout game. So you would need 70 altogether to unlock it. So you're getting 10 plus whatever you start out with. So, like, you're not even going to be close to getting everything. Or, every level you get 1 perk point to put into one of the perks, and each perk has 3 levels in it. And if you want to add on with DLC, you just add, like, a level 11 or a level 12 tier and add the perks that way. Or you add new perks like you did in New Vegas and Fallout 3, where they had, when you level up, you had a choice between them. And so every level you get 1 point to put into any of the perks that you have unlocked, depending on how many points you have in your specials. And then at level 10, you get 1 special point to put in your specials. Or you can trade that special point in for 2 perk points that you can put into your perk tree. So then you can just specialize in a perk quicker, but it's a cost of maybe expanding a special that you want, that you have to wait for 10 levels to get. And going to Fallout 4, the power armor, that needs to make a return. That's probably my favorite thing out of everything. They should have, obviously, certain skins that fit into the universe. Propaganda or display power armor pieces that you should be able to collect. I do wish that you were able to craft power armor pieces. So maybe they could add quests in the game. Like if you play for the Brotherhood of Steel, you get the T60 power armor points, or power armor plans. Power armors, butchering it. It's pushing there, guys. All of my words are starting to mince. The power armor plans for T60 if you work with the Brotherhood of Steel. Or, like, if you work with, let's say, like, there's a remnant of the military left, or something like that. And you can get, like, the T45 or the T51 plans through them, and you can build those power armor pieces. Instead of just getting, you know, the plans for specific ones like in Fallout 76, which can be, it's a bit of a pain. It would be neat to be able to build those specific power armors. Granted, like, they shouldn't be easy. They should be quests, or they should be unlocked once you reach, like, a certain affiliation with a faction, which would go back to the karma thing. So, like, once you reach, like, max affiliation with something, you unlock certain things that you can't unlock before. So, you know, maybe have specific rare weapons or certain plans that you can get, or certain magazines, or certain workshop items that you can get for having max affiliation with a certain faction. And like that goes back into the power armor, but the settlement building, to where your settlement, depending on how big it is, if it becomes a big settlement, it should affect the world in some way. Like, you should be able to see traders coming in. You should be able to hear people talk about it, like, oh, that seems like a safe place to live, or that's I've go there to trade all the time because you have a shit ton of vendors set up. And being able to do co-op in the new Fallout game would be awesome. So you could have up to 3 friends come in. They basically just take the place of companions, and they just run around and help you. They get XP, they get caps, that's about it. Or anything else they collect in there. They can trade with your vendors. They can trade with you. But they're there just to help you. They're basically a companion. They come with you on the quest. If they hop into your world, they're basically helping you, which means if they're helping you with a main quest, it affects you. It doesn't affect them, so none of that carries over. But their experience and the caps and the stuff they collect goes back with them. But it would be neat to be, like in Fallout 4, I think it's neat going in and building a museum for all my power armor and my weapons, and being able to show it off to my friends, invite them to my world and show them that, and take them to like my trading settlement, and then taking them to my personal settlement, and then taking them to my settlement that grows my food, and then there's a settlement that just collects junk, and then there's a settlement for my companions, and then there's a small camp I have at the north, which is just like a small camp for me to fast travel to. You know, just to go around collecting shit. Yeah, I think it would be neat to specialize, and then, like, you hear the people talk and react in the world about, you know, your bases. And then with Fallout 76, bringing back the crafting, being able to tear everything apart. Granted, I think, depending on what tier of scrapper you get, you should get more stuff. So, like, I don't know. I haven't really played with the scrapper perk too much. But to me, like I said in one of my Fallout 4 episodes, is, from what I understand, if you were to scrap a gun, you would get springs and you would get screws, right? Maybe not from every gun or every weapon, but I believe that's something you would get. So, to me, I think the higher level you have a scrapper, the more, like, realistic the components you get from it are. And some of the components are extremely hard to find, and they're a bit of a pain in the ass to find. So, maybe if you max out scrapper, obviously, like, the scrap gets more realistic and you pull everything that you actually would get from it if you tore it apart. And what else do I have to go over here? The changing of legendaries, making sure that the legendaries, I still think that legendary creatures and enemies should drop legendaries. And I think they should maybe level with you. I think there should be like 5-star legendaries, but obviously when you're starting out, it's going to be level 1, and then when maybe you get the level 20, or like you can do it in fifths if you make the level cap 100, and once you reach like level 95, you can get 5-star legendary weapons. Then that way, when the DLC comes out and like they take the level cap off, you can just run around and have fun and not have to really worry about anything. I think that about does it. I don't think there's really anything else to talk about, so that would be my perfect Fallout game. If you've taken notes or paid attention, to me it just seemed like a little bit of rambling there in the middle. And if you guys have any comments or anything about what your perfect Fallout game would be, just drop it in the comments. I would be glad to hear it. I would love to hear it, and I would love to start a conversation about what your perfect Fallout game would be. I know it's going to be a very, very long time till we get a Fallout game. From what I understand, it's not going to be till maybe 2030 till we get the new Elder Scrolls game, which I'm kind of excited for, but yet we still haven't heard anything about Starfield, which I'm optimistic about. Like, I'm excited for it, but I'm not excited for it because I'm afraid that it's going to be a pain in the ass, and it's just going to be filled with microtransactions and all kinds of shit. And like, Bethesda needs to figure something out with the Creation Club, because the shit's too expensive in it, and like they need to figure it out. So it might be 10 to 12 years before we get a new Fallout game, which is why I wish they would modernize Fallout 1 and 2. Because the material's there. The only thing they would have to do is upgrade the graphics and make it modern. Which they have 3 studios now, so there's no reason why they couldn't have one of their main studios do that. And have it done in like 4 years. Or maybe license it out to a partner developer and have them get it done in 2 or 3 years. If it's going to be like 12 years. Because Fallout 76, I hate to tell you Bethesda, but it's tanking. Nobody really likes it. And it still needs a lot of fixing. Because I've seen, just getting on YouTube and watching, apparently they've been updating stuff. But when they update it, it's introducing new bugs into the game. So, like, where do you draw the line at that point? Like, it seems like you're going to have to shut the servers down, figure everything out, and then let the game go live again. Or I know they added it to Xbox Game Pass. That way, like, people can try it out. And it's probably not going to be on Xbox Game Pass forever. And I know a lot of people say it should be a free game. But, like, I've bought this game twice. I bought it for the Xbox One, I bought it for the PS4, and then I bought a used copy for my girlfriend to play with me, and then I had a friend gift it to me on Steam. So I have 4 copies of Fallout 76. And when you have somebody to play with, especially now with Wastelanders, it's a fun game. But if both of you have the game beat, it's not a very fun game. So, like, to me, I think they need to modernize Fallout 1 and 2. I really hope... there's been a lot of rumors lately that they're going to re-release or remaster Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas. I would love that. If they added the modern power armor, if they added a sprint button, and updated the graphics a little bit, I would enjoy it. Like, that's literally all I have to do. Throw a new coat of paint on it, update the power armor, and that's about it. I would play it. You could sell, like Fallout 1 and 2, I said earlier in the video, like, sell them for like $30 a piece and maybe $50 together with all of the DLC. I'd buy it. I know a lot of people that will buy it. I know people that will get a new console probably just for that fucking game if they remastered them. And, there's been a rumor going around that they are, but again, excuse me, my voice is starting to go out. I'm not really used to talking for this long. But, like I heard before, Todd Howard isn't really interested in remaking or remastering games because of the nostalgia of older games, which is a crock of shit. Because they'd make fucking bank if they remade some of these games. Like, my first Elder Scrolls game was Morrowind. And I was a preteen, young teenager when that came out, and I had no idea what the fuck I was doing, but I enjoyed it. And, like, if you remastered that game, I'd go back and play it. If you remastered Oblivion, I would definitely go back and play it. Like, I tried playing Oblivion, and, like, there's just too much going on. I don't know where the fuck to start. And, like, I admit, I like Skyrim, but I never beat Skyrim's main quest, because when I went to do it, I was too low a level. I wandered off to do side quests, and I never went fucking back. So, that shows you how important Skyrim's main quest was to me, because to me it wasn't a main quest. It was just kind of like a long side quest that they threw in with everything else, because there was a lot of shit going on in that game, and it made you get distracted, not really care about the main quest, which is a good thing and a bad thing, but again, that's a topic for another day. So with that, I think that's about everything for it. So I'm not really going to go over the bullet points again, but that's my perfect Fallout game for basically taking the good things from Fallout 1, 2, New Vegas, 3, 4, Fallout 76. Maybe the things I would change for Fallout 76. And some of the things that I would maybe combine together to make a good Fallout game. So again, I'd like to hear what you guys think about it, so you can drop your perfect Fallout game in the comments, or you can hit me up on Facebook or Twitter. Like always, the links to those are in the description. And don't forget to look for any polls I have running on those for any games that I'm playing. Before I do go, I will do an update for like The Witcher 3, because it's a massive game, and I've played it twice, and right now it doesn't have a whole lot of traction, so I think I'm going to play it till Cyberpunk comes out, and then I might alternate them, or I might just keep Cyberpunk and put The Witcher 3 on a back burner till maybe I get another game complete, and then I'll throw The Witcher 3 back into the cycle. I'm not sure. I'm going to think about it. You guys can let me know your ideas. But if you guys could please like, subscribe, share this video. Make sure you hit the post notification icon. That way you get notified when I do upload a new video. And again, let me know what you guys think. What's your perfect Fallout game? And I'll see you guys on the next one.